Hello, friends of Echo de la Diaspora Africaine. I'm Jean-Louis, also from the African Community Radio. So we're here on the Pan-African platform in Paris. So, dear friends, today we're revisiting an affair that has been almost obscured, forgotten, buried by the dignitaries of the regime. It concerns the story of the transfer or sale of land in the Niari, Kwilu, and Pool regions. You will recall that back in 2022, we already suspected Mr. Christel Sassou, who had just been appointed Minister for Cooperation, of having signed opaque or compromising not only the country's economy, but also the territorial integrity of the Republic of Congo. So Mr. Christen went to Rwanda to negotiate a contract on land that did not belong to him. So he chose the south. He waxed, of course, signs the agreement, but does not have consult Parliament to ratify or adopt the final version of the text. So until now, everything has remained opaque. But you know that for those of you who follow this news, that television program, particularly in Rwanda, we saw people talking, I was going to say in Kinyarwanda, speaking that at last we can now take possession of our product, our land, without getting in the way. So he tells us what was originally something hidden has come to light, certainly to the surprise of Mr. Sassou and his son, because up to now even certain members of the regime have no idea the clauses of this contract. As you know, a few days ago, an authentic document leaked, as they say, notably the famous contract, the CAD agreement, I was going to say, signed between Rwanda and Congo. And therefore, below this CAD agreement, the CAD agreement is a sort of hat which the broad outlines of the specific contracts. You will see that even in this CAD agreement, all the clauses in it are only to the advantage Rwandans. Tell me this, at what point? The Congo will go there to farm or exploit wealth there? We hear about the cultivation of healthy rice. We're told about chili peppers. So we're going to exploit, you've been following this video, you're going to exploit chili peppers in Rwanda, in Congo, in the Nihari countries, in Kwilu, in the south, in Pule, to process it. In Rwanda. This means that Denis Sassou Nguesso is finally proving right those who believe that he lacks vision in his approach to unemployment and prices, for example. Because if you exploit a raw material without processing it on site, how are you going to enable your population to buy at a lower price? But the Rwandan tells you that he exploits and will take his product home to Kigali, in Kigali, to exploit it there, bring it back in another form to the Congo to sell it at a premium. Unemployment has not been resolved. The issue of unemployment has not been resolved. Purchasing power, as you can see. This is a dangerous business. Opaki. Insofar as Rwandans have already started to invade the country. I pointed out that their carrier, in particular their Rwandan aircraft, has begun, I don't know exactly when the contract for Kigali-Brazzaville was signed. Kigali-Brazzaville route was signed. This plane makes several rotations a week. Can anyone tell me that fewer people return to the Congo than they leave?
No.
It's quite the opposite. We have many more Rwandans coming to us. And we've learned that there are soldiers, that there are jobless people, that there are thugs. So this overflow of the population, there are 12 million of them out there. They believe we'll solve unemployment in Rwanda. Mr. Sassou, the one who thinks so. We're the ones who are going to teach them about family planning. To tell them to be careful, stop your libido, solve the problem of your density. In such a small territory, that's not the problem, the role of the Congo. It's not our problem. So, Denis Sassou Nguesso thinks he has such an immense territory that he can distribute it everywhere. I pointed out in a chat one day with colleagues in the profession that in the Congo we had examples of cooperation, for example, in Combe and just about everywhere else in the north with other nationalities that pose no problem. So the Congolese don't see cohabitation with these other nationalities. But when we raise the issue of the Rwandans, the machete specialists, that's how they're presented there. Then beyond everything you've learned, where the problem is simply put on the Hutus, you mustn't think it's the culture, the machete, the culture of Rwandans as such. From now on, in their constitution, there are no longer the terms Hutus or Tutsis for those who don't know. No. So these people are not only violent, but they have expansionist spirit, the spirit of dominating the natives. So they come to you, they impose their way of life on you. Gradually, they establish themselves by using a policy of depopulation or gradual subtle domination without you noticing. And this is what, as you know, we have no borders since there are no restrictions in place. The numerous rotations of Rwandans are to dump the overflow of the people I mentioned. The thugs, ex-prisoners, soldiers, the whole shebang. So the overflow of the 12 million had to be dumped. Brazzaville, Ponoir, Bouanila. No, not Bouanila. Everywhere else too. Everywhere. So that's where you have to go. But we were talking about agriculture, but now you've understood that there's something else in these opaque contracts, and that's the problem of mining resources. Because the invader we heard a few days ago on Rwandan television tells you that he's really happy to see that apart from agriculture, there's something else he can take. He's going down to remove perhaps coltan in the pulse, since we tell him there's coltan. And it's perhaps now that we understand why Denis Sassou Nguesso's relentless pursuit of the Pole region. Now we understand why the gentleman, the so-called president of the Congo, wanted to raise all these areas. Denis Sassou Nguesso's destiny is to turn these areas into desert zones, precisely to enable exploitation of these resources. Now we understand the project. Because if you ask people to leave, they'll violently oppose and destroy them, as they've done in the past. To use force, violence, to raise them, to kill them en masse, as they did. So, as we are, so the people of the Nyari Kwilu countries, there's a big territory there. They present it as larger than their capital, which is Kigali. Check out the pictures. See the density. People only inches apart on the street, centimeters apart in the streets and in the corridors of other markets. It's a swarm of people in the street. You don't have enough space. Space is a rare commodity. So that's that. So we want